Look, it's really simple. Overpopulation creates every possible type of person, every possible type of belief, every possible type of disease that someone might catch, every possible type of disability a person might be born with, every possible perspective, interpretation, opinion, every possible degree of intelligence and creativity, every possible invention and discovery, every possible type of ideology or economical system, political system, every possible type of sexual fetish, every possible type of art, music, film producer, religion, cult, technology, company, philosophy, architecture, gender, and the list could go on for hours. But allow me to continue the list for a little while, for the sake of making the absurdity of overpopulation obvious. Overpopulation has created climate change and climate change deniers. Overpopulation has created conspiracy theorists. It has created the concept of overpopulation, and it has created overpopulation deniers. Overpopulation has created antinatalists as well. It has created mass consumers. It has created capitalistic power abusers. Overpopulation is responsible for all the wars and conflicts that ever took place in the history of humanity. It is responsible for every type of problem and every form of pain and suffering. It is responsible for all the love and the hate that has been expressed. It is responsible for every word that has been spoken, for every movement that has been performed, for every society that has been built, for every choice that has been made. It is responsible for me speaking these words right now and for you listening to them. And this whole entire list filled with extreme diversity are all living and manifesting on the same finite planet, and it will only continue to grow and grow. We have to understand that by creating so much life, we are conducting an experiment more or less. Nobody can really predict what the future will look like within now and 50 years from here. Nobody really knows what good or bad will happen to ourselves and to our children and grandchildren the next 50 to 100 years. Whatever will happen, and we take this for granted when we consider to create life. So, whatever good we do, or whatever good happens to us, and whatever bad we do, or whatever bad happens to us, the creation of life is 100% responsible for that. Yes, we can blame cancer for torturing and killing us. We can blame the pedophile for sexually assaulting a child. We can blame the selfish capitalists for destroying and harming the biosphere. But we know that these things happen inevitably because this is an unfortunate feature of human nature. Statistically, this happens every day, somewhere, sometime in the world, especially in an overpopulated world. And it doesn't matter if we condemn injustice, if some insane person with a psychological disorder is brought into existence and he or she uncontrollably harms someone else, then the harm has been done regardless. Injustice is a fact of life. It happens on a daily basis. Now, given this knowledge, if you create life, you know for a fact that you are openly exposing your child to potential injustice, especially in an overpopulated world where so many hating, abusive, manipulative, corrupt, lying, aggressive, racist, discriminatory people are walking around. Overpopulation has turned injustice into an inevitable reality. So when you create life, and someday injustice is attacking that life from behind, not only should you blame the perpetrator, but you should also definitely blame yourself for having exposed your child to potential danger. You, as the creator of your child, are equally guilty for the harm your child has to undergo, because you have all the freaking knowledge of the world to understand the consequences of creating life. We are all guilty for all the good and the bad stuff in the world, okay? We are all good and bad simultaneously. Yes, we deserve love and happiness, but we also deserve hate and depression. Why? Because there will always be people who will hate on us, and because someday in our lives we will feel depressed. That's just inevitable. Why is it inevitable? Because there are so many people who can potentially hate us and might cause us to become depressed. So yeah, seriously, creating life is both good and bad, and not creating life is simply neutral, and I prefer neutrality above good and bad. So please, understand that all the living beings that have ever lived and are alive today right now on planet Earth, that all of them are responsible for all the good and bad stuff that have happened throughout history. Primarily those who insist on giving birth to a next generation. Everybody is automatically a victim and a perpetrator just by the sole fact that they exist and that they create life. So why, for Christ's sake, why do most people dislike neutrality? We keep adding good and bad people, smart and stupid people, strong and weak people to the world, and neither is going to outbreed the other. So why continue this endless game? All we want is stability, but that's just the absurdity of it all. Absolute stability is only possible when all life ceases to exist. So it's pretty obvious that absolute stability is unrealistic when considering the need to create life. Instead, we can only pursue relative stability, but therefore we have to dramatically reduce the population. But since half of the world is filled with naysayers and overpopulation deniers, this whole pursuit for stability becomes absolutely stupid and hopeless. This is one giant mess and we never fucking learn our lesson. Life is one hell of a joke, but at the same time a very serious business, because we are dealing with the most valuable thing in the universe, namely sentience. And most people like to play and conduct experiments with it. So yes, convincing the world to reduce birth rates is most likely a hopeless pursuit, but so is everything else. The world is filled with so much diverse opinions that nobody really can convince everybody to pursue a certain ideology. But nevertheless, we should keep trying to do what we think is right. And I'm going to continue trying to convince people to reduce giving birth. And at the same time, people will continue trying to convince me that overpopulation and antinatalism are absolute bullshit. Which again proves that the abundance of people on this goddamn planet makes this whole pursuit of whatever the fuck ridiculously absurd, stupid, and hopeless. But yeah, just for the sake of being alive, we just keep doing this crap over and over again. Perfection really is impossible. Yet most people like this, because yeah, all our imperfections makes us perfect. And we enjoy the process of learning, but knowing that we shall never know the truth. We love doubting, we love ignorance, we love to gamble with the truth. We love to endlessly debate with each other, because that's how we keep learning from each other forever and ever and ever. Yes, it's really wonderful to maintain an infinite process of good versus bad, smart versus stupid, strong versus weak, open versus close-mindedness, and never ever agreeing with one another. Perfection will only prevail when the last human being will breathe out his or her final breath, when the last brain stops objectifying this reality. And obviously, right now we're doing the exact opposite. Continuing endless imperfection, endless thinking, endless doubting, endless fighting, endless whatever. So yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Till next time.